Speedrunning. This once niche hobby has surged in popularity in recent years, thanks in part to the community of dedicated gamers that love to compete for the best times and share their passion for speedrunning with others. One of the first communities to gain public attention for speedrunning would be Games Done Quick, with their tens of millions of dollars raised for charity over the past decade. The charity speedrunning marathon format has defined the culture of speedrunning since GDQ's inception, and most communities have been following in their footsteps, setting up their own marathons. However, if you look into the data, overall viewership has started to decline for the Games Done Quick events. The format of charity marathons, while amazing in their ability to gather large groups of people together for a great cause, are unfortunately losing their novelty. Does this mean the end for the speedrun community? Well, no. But that's because we have some brave souls leading the charge into what I believe is the future of speedrunning in the mainstream. Okay, but in all seriousness, it might not just be these three streamers. I just chose these three streamers because I like them a lot, and I think their content around speedrunning is great for getting people interested in speedrunning as a whole. I could have put other streamers in here too, like the surge of Minecraft speedrunning that happened this past year, or how like every streamer is doing Super Mario 64 speedruns like every other month. All those stories would have easily fit in here too, but I had to make the cutoff somewhere, so... Also real quick, just so you guys are aware of who I am and my experience in the speedrunning scene. I've been speedrunning on Twitch for over 8 years now. I've been invited to speedrun at GDQs multiple times, and I also hold many world records for one of the most legendary speedrunning games of all time, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. The only reason I bring this up is so you guys know that I'm not just some nobody who is talking out their ass. I've been in the speedrunning community for a very long time, and I've seen how it's changed over the last couple of years. Oh, and if Castlevania speedruns interest you at all, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Twitch. And if you're really feeling like it, maybe check out my Patreon. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get back to the video. Charlie, aka Moistcr1tikal, a gamer's gamer, if you will, an absolute legend in the speedrunning scene. He not only looks like Jesus, but he may as well be the messiah of speedrunning. Known for his legendary speedruns of classic titles like Granny or Skyrim's Marriage Percent, and of course his iconic world record of Mr. Krabs overdoses on ketamine. Charlie has the uncanny ability to pick up a game and speedrun it at a mastery level, near instantaneously. But seriously, he shows the process of learning a new game live on his stream. This leads to an explosion of interest in whichever speedrun he sets his sights on learning. The speedrunning communities for these games, like Granny and Mr. Krabs overdoses on ketamine, saw major bumps in the number of runners submitting times to the official leaderboards after Charlie started streaming those games. This is amazing for the speedrunning community at large, because people doing runs and submitting them is the lifeblood of the scene. Without new runners getting involved in speedrunning, the scene would eventually die out as older runners retire. So having a force like Charlie to influence new people to try speedrunning new games for the first time is overall an amazing asset for the speedrunning community's growth. Also, Charlie's choice in speedruns to learn is very important as well. His track record shows him learning short and very glitchy runs overall. Runs that utilize major glitches, out-of-bounds strats, and skips to reach the end of the game as fast as possible. The game Outlast, for example, is a game Charlie ran recently that sees the player doing a precise jump to leap out of bounds right onto a load zone that leads to the very end of the game, allowing the player to beat the game in mere minutes. Showing off the skill and precision required to finish a glitchy run like this helps legitimize these speedruns to a larger audience. This is important to the speedrunning scene, as it has long been a battle for speedrunners to be taken seriously in the eyes of normie gamers. It is not difficult to go to any world record video and find someone in the YouTube comments complaining about cheating because they're doing glitches, or writing a Twitter manifesto about the illegitimacy of speedrunning.
I was thinking about why so many in the radical left participate in speedrunning. What? Go fast rather than do it right, and in a Petersonian sense. Shadow, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a beta male, Sonic.
So huge props to Charlie for helping legitimize using glitches in speedrunning. Lastly, I want to touch on the work that he's been doing with his esports organization, Moist Esports. In my eyes, it's only a matter of time before he signs a speedrunner to join the illustrious roster of Moist Esports. And Charlie, if you happen to be watching this and are looking for a world record speedrunner to join, my DMs are open. Just imagine seeing the Moist Esports jersey being worn on the big stage at the next in-person GDQ. Hell, who knows, maybe Charlie will make his own Moist Esports charity marathon in the future. At the end of the day, the possibilities are limitless when you consider the collaboration between Moist Esports and speedrunning. Next up, we have the king of content, Mr. Subathon himself, 6th biggest streamer in the world, Ludwig. This 5'2" king has had his hands in the speedrunning scene for many years now. Whether it's his very legitimate Mario Party 2 world record speedrun, or his more recent records for his button mashing skills, Ludwig has long had speedrunning content be a major part of his brand. And this is huge. Ludwig's meteoric rise as a content creator has inspired many others around him to adopt similar styles of content in order to grow their social media presence. If you were to look at what most speedrunners' YouTube channels looked like before Ludwig became big, you would find mostly a string of personal best speedruns alongside maybe a few tutorials and glitch videos. But now, you can see a clear difference. Many of them have adopted the Ludwig style of streaming your content live on Twitch, then uploading an edited version up on YouTube. Doing original content challenges like his legendary God Gamer Gauntlet, where you play through Jump King, Pogo Stuck, and Getting Over It back to back in under an hour. Instead of just streaming himself doing the challenge, he edits down the challenge to a better viewing experience for YouTube. And this format has paved the way for many others to follow in his footsteps to great success. Although doubters will claim that Ludwig actually stole this style of video from Smallant, real ones know it's more of a yoinkin' twist as opposed to straight up theft. Also, Ludwig has a YouTube series called Bros vs. Pros, where him and his friends compete against professionals in a particular game. One of the more recent ones had him facing off against a Mario speedrunning legend, Simply, in a unique crew battle-esque race versus him. Ludwig and his team would all have to finish the faster 16-star speedrun back-to-back in a relay race, while the former world record holder would have to finish a 120-star speedrun, a much longer category which has Simply collecting all 120 stars in the game. These unique content ideas are exactly the type of thing that helps innovate speedrunning content as a whole and helps bring greater awareness and appreciation for speedrunning as a hobby, as well as giving these pros, like Simply, the chance to show off their skills to a wider audience in a fun and interesting way. So regardless of how you look at it, it's clear to me that Ludwig is a true innovator when it comes to content and speedrunning.
So I got out of bed. I woke back up and I went to my computer at 3 in the morning and I started to grind.
Last but not least, we have the global consumer marketing manager at NVIDIA, Brandon G.H. Ewing. While many have doubted Atrioc's gaming abilities due to his old age, he has shown not only competency, but mastery over his speedrunning game of choice, the Hitman Trilogy. Granted, in a category that he made up and then pressured the mods on speedrun.com to add as a main leaderboard category so he could have a world record. But does any of that matter? No, because what we as an audience see in these runs, we see the full spectrum of emotions when competing for a speedrun world record. The constant pain of early resets as the chat spams back to Paris, to the innovation in strat finding in order to shave seconds off of your personal best, to the epic pop-offs knowing that the run is over and that you just got a new world record. We see this and know that these runs are truly skillful and worthy of celebration. The mindset, no, the grind set required to handle the pressure of performing a perfect run is easily Atrioc's greatest asset as a speedrunner, followed closely behind by the company he keeps. That's right, this five-headed genius wanted a reason to continue grinding his favorite game. But with no competition, it's hard to get viewers interested in a journey of mastering a speedrun, especially if they don't really know or care about the game. And this mad lad recruited the Zelda speedrunning legend himself, Linkus, to aid him. Atrioc took him under his wing and taught him to speedrun the game, creating a rival to help him push the record lower and give stakes to the storyline at large. And Linkus is no slouch when it comes to speedrunning either, acquiring many world records in very popular and competitive games. This collab is genius for the fact that it gave both runners content, being able to collab for special events in-game, and to take the record back from each other, over and over again. These are the kinds of storylines that help break speedrunning out of its niche audience and get more people to care about it. I guarantee, before Atrioc started grinding to take the world record back from Linkus, most people couldn't care less about Hitman or Hitman speedrunning. But by giving it an easy-to-follow storyline of two rivals pushing each other to their limits, it creates a compelling narrative that kept people coming back to see how the rivalry would progress. Will Linkus snipe the world record again? Will Atrioc invent a new strat to help him take the run even lower? It was a thrilling era to watch for both of them, concluding in a very satisfying ending as Atrioc retired from his Hitman speedrunning career on top with a massive world record reveal. Storylines make people care, and whether Atrioc realized it or not, by showing his friend Linkus how to run the game, he created a way for speedrunners to gain interest in runs people may not have considered caring about before. I wouldn't be surprised if more runners don't start looking at this as the go-to model for speedrunning collaboration in the future. The culture and the community of speedrunning may be changing, but I would argue it's changing for the better, especially as long as we have these three content creators pushing forward and carving the new meta in the speedrunning community. Or maybe they're all just ripping off Point Crow and Smalland. I don't really know, man. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Peace!